Oh my God, much God. Thank you for your patience.
I mean, I
I
was
noticed
really
your patience throughout.
I mean, I was just shopping online.
Okay. Yeah, but still,
Thank you.
I know you wanted to record. I want to record.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and, I'm always conscious when we're leaving our kids, there's, like, a ticking clock of, like, the time we have, and we've both been busier, you've been busier, so we haven't even been able to edit the last week's one, so there's, like, a little bit of anxiety of, like, not completing here, and then it bleeding out into the week and, but yeah, it's okay. It's all part of the life.
The podcaster's life.
The life in general, where things just take longer than you might want them to.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed the voices immediately that are like, why did you have to try to change anything? I'm speaking to myself when there was a hiss in the monitors and I was trying to change it and I was like, okay, I'll change it. And then ChatGPT was like, all right, but let's improve this level, that level. And I go, and the entire time as I was working to get everything back to the original levels, I was like, there was a voice in my head that was like, just wanted to curse me out and be like, why did you have to fucking. But I realized that part of that was like, I was checking in with myself and I was like, feeling like you were probably feeling frustrated. Like, why did you have to change anything? But every time I kind of looked up at you, you were totally fine just doing your own thing. So I realized this is my own voice. It's like, it wasn't your voice as like that I was trying to defend against, it was like my own voice. And I was like, it's okay. She's fine. Everything's fine. It's taking longer than expected. We might not actually record an episode today. Just just do what you need to do to get it back to where you wanted it and resist the instinct to shame yourself for trying to get it just right.
Yeah.
So easy. Like, and you know what? If I would have worked to change it and it would have massively improved everything, I would have been like, oh my God, I can't believe you were recording it like the other way before. This is such an improvement. Man, I'm so glad we took the time and really perfected it. It's
Mhm.
just I'm so glad. Oh my God. Like, how come I didn't think to do that initially, right? I would have made a whole story around it that way.
Mm.
But because I changed it and it was a massive downgrade, all of a sudden it was like, why did you do that? Why did you even stop to do that? It was totally fine. Why did you have to change it? Why did you have to try to improve it? Like,
Mm.
it's wild.
Yeah. I mean, when you were doing it, I was noticing how, like, I was like, "Okay, the hiss is gone. Alright, let's go." And I was noticing the difference. I was just, I mean, I already know this, but I was observing the difference between us and, how I'm like, if I'm working on something, I'm just trying to get it done as quick as possible, and whatever is like, just I'm always moving in very fast pace and go, 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 and so if I'm trying to do something, I'm like, "Okay, accomplished, done, move it, move it, move it," and how you're much more, slower and will take your time, and you don't have this sort of, like, ticking clock in your head at all times to just the pressure, so you have a little more space to, like, actually get deeper with things. You'll read the instructions on the things we buy, and you'll take that time, and then you'll be like, "Oh, wow," like, you're not supposed to put what are they called? Essential oils in the humidifier. I'm like, "Oh," so, like, in my urgency, I'm getting a lot more done maybe, and I'm feeling more accomplished, and I'm feeling like, "Wow, look at everything I did in the day," and in your slowness, things are just getting done fuller and right. Um, so I definitely was, like, noticing what was coming up, and I'm like, "There's space, Mushki, like, it's okay," like, "Even if we don't record today, like, you're safe," and just trying to remind myself, like, "You're allowed to go in, like, this is, like, okay, like, you do you, like, this isn't my agenda." Yeah, and then when it didn't work out, definitely, like, those little parts that are like a waste of time, but I'm really practicing just allowing for space in life, for mess ups, for things to be bad even. I have definitely this really, really strong perfectionist side and extremely, extremely high standards of, like, just get it done, just do it right, just figure it out. and mistakes feel very, very hard for me. They feel like waste, and waste is very hard for me on all levels, materially, physically, spiritually. I just don't like it. So I'm really working, and it's actually something that I really was feeling into a lot last night, and something that I was saying in my prayer this morning and really feeling into, which was just like I was feeling the burden of that. I was just feeling the burden and the pressure of like everything has to be right all the time. Every minute has to be taken advantage of, and we have to succeed. And we have this slot now for the podcast, and we have to record, and we have to get it done. And I even came in here with a plan. I'm like, all right, let's record a quick episode. Let's finish editing last week's episode. Like I had like an agenda, and you decided to play around to fix the sound, and then go deeper into fixing the sound because you wanted to, once you were in there, once you had it open, to really just get it right. And even if that meant we can't record today, okay, but we're set up for all the future recordings with the right levels. Like I understand that. So, and I think specifically because I've been feeling into the burden of my, um, I was really feeling into this part in IFS last week, but my time manager part and just how much pressure, it's like literally like a ticking bomb of like every minute that's like moving, and I have to get it done, and always keeping me in check. And even though there's so much value that that part has added to my life, I'm really starting to feel just the burden of it so much. And I'm really feeling into that. And I was really feeling into it and like crying about it last night. That was part of what I was feeling. And just like the responsibility I feel for every moment, for everything, for how everybody feels. And it was reminding me a lot about like the beginning of our marriage and just earlier stages before my healing of like just like feeling into everyone and wanting everything to be good and wanting to just like stretch myself to be this for this person and this for that person, right? Like especially kids, right? Our kids, our family, you like, and even though I'm not doing it on the same level that I used to, right? There's like I've become a lot healthier and more boundaried and balanced. I was really seeing though, like how it was coming up a lot, and how I'm not okay with things not being okay, and how I just feel like I need to fix it right away when things aren't good. One of our kids is struggling and they're sad, right? I'm like, I gotta go down there, gotta go talk to them. I know this is gonna cause them trauma. I'm like, just like I'm already, it's like healthier language, but still that same like pressure of like, I have to fix this. This has to be fixed. This is not okay. There's fighting going on that I need to intervene in or I need to fix. And I was like really feeling into that last night. And I was feeling just like really, really exhausted by it and just really like just sad and like burdened. I'm like, I can't carry this anymore. Like I can't make everyone okay. You know, I was just like really feeling that like I can't make everyone okay, which is like, of course, and it's like codependency 101. But, I find myself kind of doing that again in healthier ways. But, and I'm just like, I just feeling like, okay, and what would it be like to just allow things? Well, if I can't make things everything okay or everything, perfect even, then what does that look like? Well, things are going to feel not okay. Things are going to feel bad because I'm not fixing it. And so it's going to feel bad. It's going to feel like things aren't okay. And like, can I make peace with that? Can I sit in that kind of space for a little while? And so instead of when the voice comes up, it's like, "Oh, no, this is not okay." I'm like, "Oh, okay. This is not okay." It doesn't then transfer to, "Well, make it better. What are you gonna do? Fix it. Show up. Be a better mother. Be a better wife. Like, just show up for your kids." Like, this voice, like, "Mushki, come on." Like, you know what's happening. You know your kid is in their room crying, and you know that they're feeling alone and sad, and, that they need this, like, maternal Pachamama energy. Like, go be that. But, like, no, like, actually, I don't have the capacity right now. So, like, I'm not gonna go be that thing that they need if it's not something that I feel like I could provide right now, and I'm just gonna allow them to be sad. Or that's just one example, but I'm just gonna allow and like, yeah, it sucks. This is bad. This feels bad. Okay. And I've been feeling into this for a while through my healing, but I just felt like last night and this morning specifically, like when I was doing my prayer this morning and feeling into it, I was like, just I don't want to carry this anymore. I don't want to carry this burden of fixing and making things okay and overriding where I actually am and what I actually have capacity for. And I just want to be okay with things like feeling bad. So and then we're here and I'm like, okay, let's record and let's, I have this plan of how we're gonna make it good, how we're gonna make these 2.5 hours or 2 hours we had left good, and perfect. And I think that it was like just the first time ever that we actually just I mean, we have to go in a few minutes. We could barely record at all. And it's like, ironically, when you make peace with things being bad, then they don't even feel so bad. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Ooh, we didn't get to record. Ooh, it doesn't feel good. Oh, okay. But I'm actually practicing letting things not feel good and not allowing this part of this, I was saying time manager part, but I think other parts come in of just this fixer part. How are we going to make it good, right away? Okay, well, okay, try to tell you, let's find another time to record this week. Let's just try to like already all of my faculties and parts are like getting on board to like fix it. And so now it's no longer a moment that doesn't feel good. It's a moment that doesn't feel good. And I feel all this urgency to balance it out, to subsidize, to work harder this week to compensate for the lack instead of just there being like, all right, it is what it is. I'm open to whatever ends up turning out, but I'm not going to take on that role and put it on my shoulders and now just be like, and so, yeah, when you looked up at me, I was like, all right, yeah, like, is it a little annoying that you're doing that with the sound? Yeah, but like, I'm not God because I've just been trying to just let things be almost like let them be bad, like, "Oh, it's gonna be a bad day." Cool, yeah, I feel like a bad mother. "Oh, my kids are just they're struggling." Okay, and just not right away attach stories to it, jobs to it, fix my fixer parts coming online, and I'm just like, I'm so tired, and that means that every time I notice anything, I right away have to fix it, and it's just so fucking exhausting. So I'm like, "I don't wanna fix anymore." And like, yeah, and then last night I was processing it and I was crying about it because it's scary. I'm like, "Well, why do I fix? I kind of feel like everything's going to fall apart if I don't. Well, I'm scared of that. Well, and I was just feeling into like the fear, the pain, the sadness. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, I don't know what's going to be then. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to have this vision of how I want my life to be or the health of my children or the health of our marriage or this sort of perfect happily ever after thing that I'm working towards. I don't know if I'm gonna have that if I really just let things be and let people struggle and let things be as they are because I'm feeling the burden so much of, like, what it feels like to feel pressure that, like, things are gonna fall apart every time something doesn't work out, that I'm just like, there's such a freedom in being like, "Yeah, all right. I feel like our family's in a little bit of chaos right now. Like, all right, I can't, like, just, like, check every box and be like, "Oh, every kid is feeling I gave every kid my presents in time." And no, like, actually, like, no, it doesn't feel good. I don't feel good. I don't feel satisfied. I don't feel like things are good, and that feels good to not try and fix it? So, yeah.
Yeah, when I'm with you and I'm taking longer or I'm taking a detour from the agreed upon plan, I definitely start feeling a lot of pressure and it's you, it's your voice in my head. I think I was experiencing anxiety for you that you were just not having in this moment. You often do. And last night, referencing last night, it was there, but like for whatever reason, it wasn't here right now. Like you said, you were shopping or whatever. Maybe you were happier to shop than to record the podcast. I don't know. But yeah, you were ready to go. You've
Yeah.
had the headphones on the entire time. I know how much you love to record, but like I was just being married to you, right? And knowing the response or knowing the fallout or, knowing your system and just being attuned to it. And in many ways, your voice being firmly planted in my own system, right, in your nervous system, like, I was considering yours as well, and I think I was putting, like, musky pressure on me that wasn't even there just because of history, you know? Valid? Yeah. It's like the entire time I was feeling this pressure of, like and just waiting for the judgment, like, I was living in it the entire time while I was adjusting the volume, like, I was criticizing myself through you, like, hearing you, like, just be, like, expecting your nervous system to start flailing and being like, "What's going on?" And, "We came here and it didn't even work out, and what's the point? And why did you have to do that?" And, not that you've overtly criticized me like that. it's not a common thing, but I'm used to being criticized, and I know how much you like things to be on schedule.
Mm.
So the two of them together, I was literally just hearing
Used to being
criticism.
criticized by me when you
No,
say that?
no.
Please clarify.
Well, I said it's not from you, so
Mm,
I'm saying used to being. I mean, I grew up with
mm,
tremendous, just constant criticisms. And if I'm disappointing somebody, or
mm,
if I'm not meeting their expectations, the natural expectation is that I'm going to get criticized, right? So yeah, it's just crazy how strong that is. But over here, it was a surprise that I wasn't being met with that. Even
mhm,
now, like you said, I could take detours and I could just kind of go with the flow. But I think when you have a detour, your nervous system starts to be not okay about how the situation is not okay, and
mhm,
then not okay that you're not okay with how it's not okay,
mhm,
and the alarm bells start going off, and it just
mm,
starts. Like, I don't have that. I mean, I've experienced moments of that, but that's not my go-to in my system. But because I'm married to and I'm used to that being here and doing something with you while we're on the same timetable, excuse me, like just, it was so present in my system. And then to look up and see that that was not perturbing you, and that even at that toward the end, you weren't expressing any real frustration about it, was like a surprise, just like highlighted the degree to which I'm just carrying it in myself, like projecting it, onto you and then back at myself. And I think we're all doing that, like on some
mm,
level all the time, like we're
mhm,
obviously talking about you and I right now, but I think it's a pattern that plays itself out in all relationships. And if we could catch ourselves, it's like a husband will pick a fight with his wife, or let's say more typically, the wife will pick a fight with the husband. Husbands might be a little bit more avoidant, typically, like, avoid the conflict, but a wife will pick a fight. And like her whole story is this, like, you X, Y, and Z. And it's like none of that even happened, but it's like this expectation that her husband was gonna have some sort of reaction that he didn't have. He didn't even wasn't even aware of the stimuli that would have, you know, motivated that response or that feedback. But she has this whole entire story that, like, and so she comes out. She already had a whole fight with her husband in her head, in her body,
mm,
and now she's coming out swinging, and the guy's like completely lost and confused.
mm,
We're sparring with our partner's voice, or with the history that we have with our partner in real time. So, like, right now in the moment, there is no threat. I'm not being challenged. I'm not being met with defensiveness. Nobody's criticizing me. Yet, by the time I open my mouth, I'm opening my mouth after a 30-minute war that I had
mhm,
with the version of you that lives in my head, you know? That happens all the time. I think it happens to couples all the time. I see
mhm,
it play out in couples counseling. It's like there's this entire, and it comes out with a certain tone, and it's a certain, like, yeah, but you, and putting all these beliefs and words into the other person's mouth, and it's like the person didn't say that. Certainly didn't say it here on the couch, but they may have never actually even said that, like what you're saying. They may have expressed the desire, and all you heard was how you're falling short. You think I'm a terrible wife? No, I asked if you can just allow me to finish my sentences. I didn't say you're a terrible wife. Yeah, but you want a wife who will allow you to finish sentences, and I'm not a wife who's been allowing you to finish sentences. So obviously you're dissatisfied with me. Obviously you don't love me. It's so, so, so hard to live so fully in the present moment, to actually be with what is happening right in front of us without any filters of what happened the moment before. But that's where all the liberation is. All the liberation is what's in front of me right now. Can my nervous system be present to receive what is being presented to me right now as it is, without the story, without the filter? So, yeah, we came here to record a podcast, and maybe we had some ideas, or at least we were going to even maybe just dip into some ideas of things that we've maybe wanted to talk about in the past, because we knew we had so little time, and took a massive detour with some technicalities. But what it brought out here is something I think that is really poignant and really relevant to all couples, all relationships. And it's extremely, extremely hard to do, because the nervous system, well, human beings are primed to see patterns. And the reason we're primed to see patterns is to survive, literally to survive threat. If I could notice patterns, then I could preempt threat. I could predict threat, and then I could preempt threat, and then I could stay alive another day. So our nervous system is wired for survival. And so if I'm talking to you now, why would I let go of 15 years of pattern and history that I have with you? Everything that I'm going to interpret right now in real time is all being that software of the moment is all being run on the hardware of our history together. Why would I get rid of the hardware and just be in the software with you?
Mm.
I literally just be in the moment. A software meaning what's happening live right now, not running on the history, the
Not being
system,
lazy and
the
using
history
the backup.
of the system.
Using the backup to meaning not using the whatever you have in storage to kind of allow you to be on autopilot in a certain sense in the
Yes, in
moment,
a
but
trance.
actually having to really feel into the current moment, which takes awareness and presence and sort of like instead of just being like just you're just running on this like story, right? It's like full-time story in the background as opposed to like each moment being anew, each breath that you breathe in being a new life. And yeah, it's so funny because you said we took this massive detour and I'm reflecting and I'm like, oh, well, it took like an hour and a half. And yeah, because we only had 2 hours after we finished working out to record. So, like, that was like all of the time. But like when you think about a person's whole life and you think about an hour and a half and you think about all the friction that was going on in your system that could have come up for me, that usually comes up for me, and the pressure of an hour and a half, and it's like, how it's really, I think, valuable to reflect, and this is the work I'm currently consciously doing in myself, and it's all part of my nervous system regulation and safety, is like, how much time do you give yourself permission for mistakes? It's not even a mistake, but I'm just saying for mess ups, for things to not be like bada bing, bada bang, right? Like you try and you succeed. You click it right in the first time. How much space do you allow in your life for that? For things, for times where things aren't going to be totally smooth, for traffic, right? For this, for things that are part of life. Or do you expect to constantly be going through life with just smooth sailing where there's no friction anywhere, right? Do you feel like traffic is like this like thing that should never happen? And therefore anytime you're in traffic, your nervous system responds like, I can't believe this is happening. I was supposed to be there 30 minutes ago. And like just are you like interacting with life like that where you're like, oh, this should have been smoother and I shouldn't waste time? Or you're just like, I'm like, oh my God, an hour and a half? Like relax, Mushki, like, everything you're safe. Like, you guys took an hour and a half. No, but you don't understand. The kids are home and they're watching TV and it's too much TV. Like, there's just stories and it's compiled from when you were, like, 1 years old, and, like, it's so heavy, at least for me, which is what I'm trying to, like, lighten up and just be like, "All right, I cannot anymore." But it's, like, part of life, part of living, part of thriving, part of being successful, part of having abundance is off time, downtime, mistake time. Just, like the classic thing that everybody knows, right? 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like that, like, idea, which is literally how the world works. So, when you take 1 step back, when you're not in the forward motion, when it feels like you're going back a little, do you relax into that because you know that's just the same thing as going forward? It's just part of the forward and back? Or do you freak out and then kind of even stunt yourself from the forward motion because then you just that becomes bigger and you get stuck there? And it's like, is it just like, all right, okay. And I feel like that's like the difference between like being okay and being not okay. Like being a person who's just like, if you have tolerance, and I know you have a lot more within yourself than I do than myself in this area. Although when you were talking, I was also thinking like, I wonder if you didn't have any harshness from yourself in this area that you would even bring on my voice as strong for you. It's
Oh,
it's like you
definitely
already
me.
have your own
Yeah,
self-criticism, and now mine is just, like, even more. It's not like you're like, "Oh, I am totally at peace with this part of me, and it's just Mushki who has issue with this," It's like
to in a way, it's even
yeah.
easier for me to put it on you, meaning to, like, store some of that criticism externally, because then I could protect myself, right, from it. Let's say you actually were to criticize me, I could defend myself, but if I'm criticizing
Mhm.
myself, it's much harder, it's so much closer to home, it's even harder actually to even recognize that voice as a voice. It's not even a voice, it's just reality. Why am
You're
I feeling
messing
this
up.
intense pressure? My breath is shallow, my neck is, my shoulders are tense, like, and like there's this like with each additional step that I was going into it deeper, it was like, oh shit, no, 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 no. Okay, but I'm this close. Let me just like take that one extra step and then I'll be fully finished. I've already invested this much time. Let
Uh,
me get over the finish line. But each time toward the finish line kept on moving, or the finish line ended up deteriorating and I need to reconstruct it. Like there was no question that I have that own pressure internally for sure. And that's more criticism. And I think it's more the voice of criticism.
mhm.
Um, like, why did you have to do that? It's like a voice of like shaming, like just, why did you have to patchka with it? It was fine. And why you Why do you always have to push the limits? Just let it be
Mhm.
what it was. You took the one step and the hiss that we were trying to remove went away. Everything else with the sound has been perfection. Literally, it's just been so great to date. Why couldn't it have all stayed the same? Oh, there's an opportunity for. So I started to judge myself on the perfectionism thing. And it's subtle. It wasn't like all very clear, overt. I mean, no, some of the voices were very direct and overt. But with you,
Mhm.
it's not so much direct criticism because that's not really your style, which I actually found super surprising when we first got married about like the regular day to day things, which I was so used to being criticized on. But for you, I think it's just knowing that when you're on a schedule and you're looking at the clock, there's a certain pressure that you feel in your chest. And then when things don't go right in that allotted time, and that time can never be brought back, there's like a part of you that starts to spiral. So I'm hearing my own internal criticism, but then I'm feeling the external pressure of come on, come on, come on. Like, how could we have let this time pass
Mhm.
without getting to the proposed productivity, whatever the output was supposed to be? So I was having both things happen simultaneously. Um, yeah. So our time is up.
Mhm.
Actually, we're already
Mhm.
a couple minutes over here. So I'll give you the final words here.
That was great. I mean, I don't have any final words.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to have to pause here.
Mm.
Till next time.